The reaction to Trump's housing policy announcement tells me that people really want to believe there's one fix for all of these affordability issues. For millennials, this is a really good one, but not for Gen Z. Okay, look, BlackRock buying out houses, bad. Banning them from doing it, fine. But that's not really going to fix Gen Z's financial anxiety because you focus on the wrong part of the problem. I keep seeing these takes from like the guys on the All In podcast saying that everything like financial anxiety wise is downstream of housing affordability. And I get the appeal. It's a clean frame. One problem, one fix. And look, the policy itself is good. The people arguing against this, saying like institutional investors only own 3% of homes, are missing the point. In Atlanta, it's 25%. In Phoenix, it's 30%. And that's just single family. Private equity owns like 10% of all apartment units in the country, and 62% of that ownership has been acquired since 2018. So like that's not a blip, that's a trend, and reversing a trend is absolutely the right call. And what's interesting to me is I actually haven't really seen anyone make a real argument against this policy. Even the Wall Street Journal editorial board wrote an article that was supposed to be against the policy, but the argument was basically just like, oh, it's not that big of a deal, which is not a counter arguing, it's just lobbying. So yeah, reverse the trend, ban the buying for institutional investors, for sure. But here's where the conversation stops like too early. Housing is a real problem, but for Gen Z, it's not the first problem. And I'm talking about wages, but I'm not just talking about like side hustles and gig income. That's 40% of Gen Z. But for the other 60% too, the ones working full-time jobs that they're overqualified for because it was the only place that was hiring, or jobs that don't use their degree, jobs that pay the same amount that they paid 20 years ago, except now rent is double and groceries are 30% higher. So you can't save for a down payment when your paycheck hasn't kept up with like your grocery bill. You can't build towards a house when you're not even building any savings at all. So yeah, millennials are fighting to buy a home, and I totally hope that they win that fight. Gen Z is fighting to get to the point where buying a home is even in the question. And that's the thing. Everyone wants to talk about housing because it is visible. You can point to it. You can point to BlackRock and it's a clean villain. But Gen Z's problem isn't the house. It's everything that happens before the house. The stable income, the savings that don't get wiped out by grocery inflation, a financial path that makes any sense at all. One that doesn't require you to stop living the life that you want to live just to stay afloat. So housing affordability is downstream of wage stagnation.